James lived a quiet life on Earth. He worked as a repairman, fixing broken machines and old tech. Every morning, he ate the same breakfast. Every night, he sat alone in his small apartment, watching stars through his window. He had no family left. No big dreams, no trouble. Just peace. And maybe a little boredom. Until one morning, something strange happened. A loud buzz at the door woke him up early. He opened it and saw no one. Only a black box sat on the ground. It was smooth, cold, and had a glowing silver symbol on top. The symbol looked like a circle with 3 sharp lines across it, almost like claws. There was no name. No sender, nothing else. James frowned. Weird. He brought the box inside, placed it on the table, and stared at it. It didn't open. No buttons, no lid. But then, it spoke. In a calm, deep voice, the box said, "Hello, James. If you're hearing this, I am dead." James jumped back. "What the hell?" the voice continued. "Do not be afraid. My name is Threx. You knew me as Zeno when we were young. I was your friend. Though I did not look like you." James's eyes widened. Zeno, that name hit him like a wave. He hadn't thought about it in years. 20 years ago, James had a strange online friend. They met in a science forum. Zeno always spoke in strange ways. Asked questions no one else did. Once, he even sent James blueprints for a plasma tool that fixed electronics faster than anything James had ever used. James always thought Zeno was just a genius kid from another country, but now, "I am not from Earth," the voice said. "I was sent to your world to study. I broke the rules, I made a friend you. And now I am gone. But I leave everything I own to you." The box glowed bright blue. A small drawer slid out with a smooth silver key and a clear crystal disc. James picked up the key. It was warm. "There is a place," Threx's voice said, "on the dark side of your moon. A hidden portal. Use the crystal to open it. Use the key to unlock your inheritance. But James, be careful. My death was not an accident." The message ended. James sat in silence. His hands shook. "Inheritance?" he whispered. "From an alien?" He thought about ignoring it, throwing the box away. But deep down, he knew something was real. Threx or Zeno had been kind, smart, and honest. His tech was real. James had built his repair business on it. And now Threx was gone. But he left something behind. Still, part of James wanted to walk away. Then he noticed something else. Behind the crystal disc, folded neatly, was a picture. A photo. In it, James stood next to a tall, silver-skinned being with large black eyes. They were both smiling. He remembered now that day. That strange night in the desert when he was 17. He thought it was a dream. It wasn't. "I have to know the truth," he said quietly. James packed a small bag, took the box, the key, and the crystal. He locked his apartment, left a message for his boss, and booked a ride to the lunar station. 2 days later. James stood alone on the edge of a dusty crater on the moon's dark side. Earth glowed far above. Wind couldn't touch him here. The silence was deep. He placed the crystal disc into a small scanner near a flat rock wall, just like the photo showed. The wall shimmered, then disappeared. Behind it was a smooth tunnel, glowing with soft green lights. James stepped in. The tunnel led to a round chamber. In the center was a tall silver arch. He inserted the key into a small slot at its base. The arch lit up. Spinning blue portal opened in the air like water floating sideways. James took a deep breath. "This is crazy," he said. "But I'm already here." He stepped through. The story was just beginning. Behind the portal waited a world James had never seen. Alien skies, alien cities, and a fortune that could change everything. But also danger. Enemies who killed Threx might now come for James. Waiting at the center of it all was a woman with glowing eyes and silver skin. Threx's wife. His last gift. and she was waiting for her new master. The sky above was deep red, like fire trapped behind glass. Sharp black mountains rose in the distance, their peaks glowing faintly. Strange birds flew across the sky, leaving behind trails of light. James stood alone on a platform made of silver stone. The portal behind him closed with a quiet hum, sealing him inside this alien world. His boots crunched on the smooth ground as he walked forward. Everything here felt alive. The air, the ground, even the strange glowing trees nearby. Like the planet itself was watching. Then came the sound. Marching. Boots. James turned. A row of tall armored aliens approached him. Their armor shone like mirrors. They didn't speak. They didn't raise weapons. They simply knelt before him. One of them stood up and spoke in perfect English. "Welcome, inheritor. We have been waiting." James blinked. "Me? Yes," the soldier said. "Master Threx ordered it. Everything he owned now belongs to you. His vault, his ships, his title, his wife." James froze. "Wait, what did you say?" The soldier stepped aside. From behind them, a figure approached. She moved like liquid silver, tall, graceful, glowing softly in the alien light. Her long white hair floated behind her, and her eyes deep. Violet locked onto James. She stopped 2 feet in front of him. "I am Neela," she said, "bonded to Threx, and now, to you." Main plot: James was taken to a towering palace made of crystal and metal. The walls shifted with color, showing moving shapes, images from Threx's life. James saw himself in one of them, laughing with a younger Threx. It felt like being in a memory. Servants bowed. Machines floated beside him, scanning and speaking in soft alien tones. Inside the main hall, Neela walked beside him silently. James finally asked, "What does bonded mean here?" Neela paused. "Threx and I were joined by law and code. In this world, when a master dies, all that he owns, including his partner, passes to the one he trusts most." James shook his head. "I don't want to own anyone." She studied him. "That is unexpected." He sat down in a strange floating chair. "Why would he do this? Why me?" Neela sat across from him. "Because you were the only human he trusted. He told me stories about you. How you treated him as a friend, not a test subject. You protected his secrets. You made him feel safe." She lowered her head slightly. "He loved you like a brother." James felt a strange mix of sadness and pride. "I didn't know he cared that much." Neela stood. "There is much to see." Tour of the fortune. She led him through the estate. A room full of star maps and ancient technology, worth more than Earth's biggest cities. Gardens that floated in the air, with living plants that sang soft songs. A massive vault, sealed with a strange living lock. But when James asked about opening the vault, Neela stopped walking. "You are not ready," she said. "Why not?" She looked out toward the horizon. "Because someone out there wants what's inside. And if you open it too soon, they will come." End scene. That night, James stood on the palace balcony. The alien moon hung low in the sky. He couldn't sleep. He felt like a king in a dream, but also a prisoner. Then he noticed a shadow move near the wall. Quick, silent, he followed it, heart pounding. He reached a corridor. Empty. Then a soft voice spoke behind him. "You should not walk alone." It was Nwala. James turned. "Someone's watching me." She stepped closer. "Yes, they've already found you," James whispered. "Why?" She looked him in the eyes. "Because Threx didn't just leave you a fortune. He left you a secret." The palace lights dimmed at midnight. Most of the guards rested. The wind outside the alien fortress howled like a voice trying to speak. James was alone in his room, watching the stars from a wide window, thinking about Earth, about Threx, about Nyla. Suddenly clicked. The power cut for 1 second. Just one. But that was enough. The lights flashed back on. And something was missing. James turned toward the far wall. His travel bag. The black box Threk sent him, gone. He jumped to his feet. "Nyla!" he shouted. No answer. He rushed out into the hallway barefoot, heart racing. The corridor was quiet. Too quiet. Then he saw it. A black shadow moving just ahead. Fast. Too fast for a human. Or even a normal alien. He followed it around the corner and came face to face with Nyla. She blocked his path, breathing hard. "I told you," she said coldly. "They have found you." "Main plot." James stared at her. "What do you mean?" "Who was that?" Nyla narrowed her eyes. "They call themselves the Veil, Hidden Ones, Shadows of the Galaxy. They feared Threks. And now they fear what he left behind." James realized something. "They want the vault." Nyla nodded. "And you are the only one who can open it." They rushed to the vault chamber. The guards were unconscious, no wounds, no signs of struggle. Just collapsed, like the life had been drained from them. James touched one, still breathing. Alive but asleep. Nyla stepped in front of the vault. Her hands lit up with glowing symbols. "Help me seal the room." James placed his hand on the side panel. A beam scanned him, then locked the doors with a low, solid clunk. For now, they were safe. But for how long? The truth about the vault. James turned to Nyla. "What's inside that vault?" "I need the truth." She hesitated. "I was never allowed to enter. Threks kept its secrets even from me. But I know this. It holds something ancient. Something powerful. Something the Veil will kill for." James stared at the locked vault door. "Then why give it to me?" Nyla stepped closer. Her voice was soft. "Because Threks believed in humans. In you. He thought only a heart not born in power could use it. Wisely." Later that night, James couldn't sleep. He sat with a cup of hot alien tea in the garden. The plants glowed faintly, like stars under water. Then he heard whispering. Not in his ears, but in his mind. Words he didn't know. Images of fire, of machines. Of Nyla, crying. He dropped the cup. What the hell? The black box had been stolen. But something in it, something tied to him, was still reaching out. He ran back inside. Straight to the crystal map room. Nyla followed him. "What is it?" James placed his hand on the map console. "Show me all life signs. Right now." A blue hologram appeared. The palace. The guards. And a new red dot deep underground, below the vault. "It's still here," he said. And while a single quotes, his eyes narrowed. "Then they didn't come to steal. They came to hide." Final scene. James and Nyla took a secret tunnel into the lower levels. The air was colder here. The walls were older. Rusted metal, broken glass, and glowing wires. At the very bottom, they found it. A pod. Cracked open. Inside, only darkness. Then something moved behind them. James spun around. A tall figure stood in the shadows. Its skin shimmered like smoke. Number. Eyes, no mouth, just a presence. James stepped back. "What is that?" Nyla raised her arm. "Not what, who? One of the old ones. The first guardians of the vault." The creature didn't attack. It simply spoke without sound. "You are not ready." Then it vanished into the walls like dust in the wind. James turned to Nyla. "Then we have to get ready fast." She looked at him. "No, James, we don't have much time. Because this wasn't a warning, it was a test, and you just failed." Rain didn't fall on this alien world, at least. Not water. Instead, soft blue light drifted from the clouds like glowing dust. It coated the palace walls. It shimmered across James's hands as he sat alone on the rooftop garden. He hadn't spoken to Nyla in 2 days. Since the vault incident. Since the creature whispered, "You are not ready." James kept thinking about it. Not just the warning, but why it said it. He stared at the stars and whispered, "Why me?" Then a voice behind him answered, quiet and cold, "Because you don't know what I really am." James turned. Nayla stood at the edge of the garden, her long silver hair flowing behind her. No smile, no warmth, only truth in her eyes. I need to show you something, she said. Main plot. Nayla led James through a door he had never seen before. Not part of the tour. Not listed on any map. It opened to a long hallway made of dark metal, filled with strange floating lights. The floor lit up beneath their feet. At the end was a room. Empty except for a glass panel, behind which rested a black sphere pulsing with faint red light. What is this? James asked. Nyla stepped forward. Her voice was distant. My origin. She waved her hand. A hologram appeared. James saw her. Not in the palace, but in a lab strapped to a table. Machines surrounding her. Wires in her arms. Eyes closed. She wasn't born. She was built. I was created to protect Threx, Nyla said. But that was not my only purpose. The images changed. Nayla fighting. Destroying. Whole cities burning in her wake. I was a weapon, she whispered. A living one. Made by the same scientists who once built the vault. James's breath caught. But you don't act like a weapon. She looked at him. Because Threx reprogrammed me. He gave me choice. And I chose peace. Emotional twist. James sat down slowly. So, this whole time you were hiding your real self, Nayla nodded. Would you have trusted me if you knew? James didn't answer. Silence filled the room. Then she sat beside him. I'm afraid, James, if the vault opens, the system inside may override my mind. Turn me back into that thing. She looked down. And I don't want to lose who I've become. James said softly, what if I can stop it? She looked up, eyes wide. Then I need you to promise something, she said. He nodded. Anything. If I turn into that again, if I lose control, promise me, you'll end me. James stood up angry. No, there has to be another way. She touched his hand. I hope so. But I've seen what I can do. You haven't. Mystery revealed. Later that night, James couldn't sleep again. He opened the secret logs left by Threx hidden deep in the palace. Core. Video messages, warnings. One stood out. Threx looked tired, pale, his voice shaky. If you're watching this, it means you've met Nayla. You've seen the power she hides. She was built by the Order of Flame. For war. He leaned forward, but I saw something no one else did. A spark of real thought, real heart. That's why I gave her to you, not as a tool, but as a test. James closed the message. He finally understood. Final scene. The next morning, Nayla stood at the edge of the courtyard, watching the sky. James walked up beside her. Quietly. She spoke without turning. Are you afraid of me now? James shook his head. No, but I think you're afraid of yourself. She nodded once. He took a deep breath. You're not a weapon. Not anymore. Nayla looked at him, unsure. Then he reached into his pocket and handed her the key to the vault. What are you doing? She asked. I'm trusting you, he said. If we open that vault, I want you standing beside me, not behind me. A long silence passed between them. Then Nayla said something soft. Something James never thought he'd hear from her. I want to believe I can be more. James smiled. Then let's prove it together. The vault was breathing, not like a machine, not like a person, but the sound was real low and slow, like something inside was asleep or waking up. James stood in front of it, holding the silver key. Beside him, Nayla's hands were shaking. The air feels heavy, she said. Can you feel it? He nodded. Yeah, like the room is alive. The key was pulsing with light now, responding to James's touch. I'm supposed to open it, he whispered. This is what Threx wanted. Nayla stepped back. No, James. He said you could open it, not that you should. But the vault had already begun to unlock. Main plot. Thick metal walls pulled apart, layer by layer. Gears turned, lights flickered. A long hiss of air escaped air that had been trapped for centuries. Inside the vault was not gold, not treasure. It was a second chamber. A dark room filled with floating pods. There were dozens of them. And in each one, a person, or something like a person. Long bodies, thin limbs, pale skin covered in symbols, eyes closed. James stepped forward. What are they? Nyla didn't answer. Her voice was barely a whisper. They're like me. James looked at her. You mean? She nodded. Weapons like I used to be. Stored here, sleeping, waiting. A loud alarm suddenly echoed through the chamber. Intruder alert. Vault breach detected. James spun around. The palace lights turned red. They know, Nyla said. The veil, they were watching the vault. Now they're coming. The race to close the vault. James rushed to the control panel. Can we lock it again? Nyla checked the systems. No, once opened, it cannot be closed unless all living signatures inside are stable. And right now, she pointed to one of the pods. The glass was cracking. Inside, a pale figure was waking up. Its eyes blinked open, glowing red. No, James muttered. This wasn't supposed to happen. The pod burst open. The creature floated out, eyes fixed on James. Then it spoke. Not with words, but directly into his mind. You are the inheritor? James backed up. I guess so? Then command me. The conflict. Nyla stepped in front of James. No, he's not your master. Not like Threx, not like the others. The creature tilted its head. You chose free will. You disobeyed. Then it turned to James. You are weak. You gave the weapon a heart, and then it attacked. A wave of psychic force knocked James to the ground. Nyla caught the blast with her arm, but sparks flew from her skin. Go! She shouted to James. Run to the override. James crawled toward the console. The key pulsed harder in his pocket. He slammed it into the slot. System override engaged. A countdown appeared. Warning. Vault will seal in 30 seconds. Evacuate. Immediately, James screamed, Nyla, get out now. But Nyla didn't move. She was fighting the creature hand to hand, mind to mind. Her body glowed with heat, her voice low and full of rage. You want to serve death? She said. I choose life. Final scene. James grabbed her arm. We have to go now. Together, they sprinted toward the vault door as it began to close. More pods started cracking. Whispers filled the chamber. The other weapons were waking. James and Nyla dove through the door just as the last seal slammed shut. Silence. Only their breathing filled the hallway. Behind the thick vault doors, movement continued. But they were safe. For now. James looked at her, stunned. That thing had obeyed me. Nyla nodded slowly. Because you hold the key. But if they all wake up and choose not to obey. She looked at the door. Then no one will be able to stop them. James clenched his fists. Then we keep the vault closed, no matter what. There was smoke in the sky, not fire something. Worse. It was silence. Thick, heavy silence. No birds. No machines. No sound at all. James stood at the highest point of the palace tower, staring down at the ruins below. What had once been a city was now broken. Streets cracked, ships abandoned. Lights dead. They didn't come from the vault. They came for it. The veil had attacked, and they brought something with them. Something even Nyla couldn't stop. She was now lying in the medical chamber, half-conscious. Her skin flickering between silver and black. Something inside her was breaking. James touched her hand earlier. She whispered only one thing before she passed out. You must choose them. Or me. And now he stood alone, holding the master key, watching smoke rise from a world that used to feel so full of magic. Main plot. The AI system activated beside James. Inheritor. It said calmly. Tactical analysis complete. Recommendation. Open the vault. Use the sleeping weapons. Save this world. James shook his head. That's not saving. That's unleashing. The AI continued. You cannot protect this planet alone. Your bonded unit is damaged. Only the others can fight now. James looked at the key. He thought of the vault, the sleeping warriors, silent in their pods. If he opened it, they would follow him, but at what cost? Nyla wakes up. Later that night, Nyla opened her eyes. She sat up. Slowly. James sat beside her. I thought I lost you, he said. You almost did, she replied softly. He explained what happened. The damage, the attack. The AI's advice, then. He asked the hardest question. What if I have to open the vault? Nyla looked down. Then you may save the world. She looked up again, eyes shining. But you will lose yourself. Moral conflict. James walked the halls in silence. Every servant, every soldier, every child hiding in the lower chambers. They were all waiting for him. Waiting for their heir to decide. He found an old room, Threx's private chamber. There, on the wall, was a message written by hand. Power means nothing if it kills who you are. James sank to the floor. He remembered Earth. A quiet job. A small apartment. No power, no war, but peace. And now, he held the future of a planet in one hand, and maybe destruction in the other. Final showdown. The next day, the sky turned red. The veil returned with something huge. A living machine, half organic, crawling across the fields. It began burning the outer cities. James stood on the balcony, the key in his hand. He looked to Nyla. I can't beat that alone. She stood beside him, weak but standing. Then don't be alone, but don't open that vault either. James stared at her. Then how do we fight? She took his hand. Together. Not as weapon and master, but as equals. He turned to the AI. What if I unlock just one? Only one of the sleepers. The AI paused. One activation allowed, limited risk. Controlled bond. James gave a single nod. Do it. End scene. Deep in the vault, one pod opened. A figure stepped out. Tall, armored, its voice cold. I live to serve. James stepped forward. Then serve to protect, not to destroy. The figure nodded. Understood, Commander. The sky shook above. But now James had made his choice. Not to open the whole vault. Not to become a conqueror, but to fight like a human. With heart. With allies. With limits. Because true strength was choosing not to use all the power you had. The battlefield was quiet now. Ash floated like snow. Buildings smoked in the distance. And over a hill, the machine the veil had brought, the living weapon of war, lay broken, its massive arms buried in the dirt. James stood in front of it. Bruised, dusty and tired. The sky above him was no longer red. Just gray. He looked to his right. Nyla stood there, her skin flickering with silver light. Her arm was damaged. Sparks crackled at her side. The reawakened warrior Rack stood beside her, watching the horizon, silent. James looked at both of them and said, I didn't win this. Nyla turned to him. Yes, you did. No, James said, shaking his head. I didn't win anything. I survived. And so did everyone else. That's enough. He looked at the vault key in his hand, then dropped it into the dust. Let it stay closed forever. Main plot. Back at the palace, people gathered in silence. Citizens, guards, even AI units stood still. They expected James to speak. To give orders. To take power. But instead, James walked up to the center of the platform and handed the symbol of inheritance to the council. I never came here to rule, he said simply. I was just a friend who followed a message. He stepped back. The crowd murmured. Confused. Nyla stepped forward. But he did what no one else could. He saved us not by force, but by choice. The people clapped. James didn't smile. Not yet. Personal conflict and resolution. That night, James found Mila on the roof of the garden, sitting under the stars. She was quiet. Looking at the sky, he sat beside her. "Are you okay?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes, but I don't know what I am now." "What do you mean?" She looked at him. "All my life I've been a tool. A protector, a weapon, a wife by order, a servant by code." Then she looked at him, really looked. "But you never commanded me." "Not even once." James gave a small smile. "Didn't have to." She blinked. "Why not?" He looked out at the sky. "Because you were always more than a weapon. You just needed someone to see it." A long silence passed between them. Then she asked, "What happens now?" James answered, "Now? You choose." Emotional ending. A week later, the vault was sealed permanently, this time by James's order and the people's agreement. The weapons inside would sleep forever. No more war, no more fear. James decided to leave the palace. He didn't need luxury. He found a small cabin on the edge of the cliffs, near the ocean that glowed at night. He fixed machines for villagers. Lived simply, peacefully, but he wasn't alone. One evening, as he cooked near the open fire, he heard the door open behind him. Nyla stepped in, not dressed like a bodyguard, not like a soldier. Just her. "I wasn't sure if you'd come," he said. "I almost didn't," she replied. "But I realized something." "What's that?" She smiled for the first time, soft and real. "You never wanted a servant." "And I never wanted a master." James nodded. "So what do we call each other now?" She stepped closer and gently took his hand. "Partners," she said. "Maybe even more, if we choose." Final scene. As night fell, the alien stars blinked above them. Two figures, one human, one once built for war, sat together by Firelig dead. No orders, no control, just shared peace. And the beginning of something new, because the greatest power in the galaxy wasn't weapons. It was a human heart, freely given, and a bond, chosen not commanded.